Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, with our task done, we leave these stagnant swamps behind and head back towards Damwald. Though we do have a few potential targets of opportunity floating around, so let's see if we can perhaps pick a few off on our way back. Well, unless they immediately take off in the opposite direction, I suppose. Okay. I mean, I'm not crazy about taking on more dogs, but we'll just say we're gently discouraging their aggressions. Just enough to give them pause. En route back to Damwald, the raiders spy a group of strangers skulking about the nearby hills. As they move to intercept, they're suddenly met by a baying pack of bloodthirsty beasts. Also, there's some doggos there. Setting his sights beyond the hirsute heralds, Bowman takes aim. But alas, his arrow falls short. Undeterred, the throng of thralls continue their approach. And the raiders set about their firm but gentle discouraging. Trip discourages one doggo. Wrestle another. A third submits to Erie's aura. And Annie surges forward, catching a savage spearman full on in the face with a flail. A crunch of cartilage, and blood fountains over his dirty blonde beard. Random avoids the ledges. That just seems like a bad place to be. Berlin suffers a shallow gash. Bowman moves up, spying a sneaky spearman on the flank, but picks off an easier shot instead. An arrow neatly impaling another spearman's hand. Rook veers away from the flanker, felling an antler-wielding aggressor with a single swift strike. Drakiith moves to discourage the last of the doggos. And with his assistance, Erie gently dissuades the beast. Whilst Random wraps his flail around an opponent's shield. And he follows up with a swift strike to the back of the barbarian's head, spilling him to the ground. Verlin ignores the flanker. And falling for the feint, the flanker finally charges, only to be swiftly met by Verlin's shield. The fool! Ratzel strikes past Random, the tines of his fork digging between a foe's ribs. Trip strikes another badly wounded barbarian, and with a weltering gurgle, the man falls. Even as King's Rook impales another through the shoulder. Scanning the battle line, Bowman picks a target. And he's already stepping back even as his foe falls. Arrow sunk feathers deep in the man's chest. The rest of the raiders swiftly circle, ready to restrict the Reaver's retreat. bleeding and winded. Verlin holds, rather than further tempt fate. And the raiders converge. An errant strike from Rassel, and the antler-wielding assassin falls. The final foe readies his spear, ready to go down fighting. The twin strikes from Rook and Revenant swiftly see him out. With 4 level ups in the queue, nice. And hey, look at that. Not much in the way of usable gear, but we'll certainly take the bone baubles. Yeah, those are deceptively valuable, since they do not suffer from the normal equipment malice when reselling. They're considered treasure items, even if just barely so. Oh man, and that's tempting. We do still need to take out a hostile camp. It's just... we have no idea what's actually in there. There's just so many ways it could end up going wrong. So yeah, we'll just head back to Damold for now. You find Gebbard the Wise nestled into his chair, holding a candlelight close to a well-worn scroll. He talks without looking up. My problem. Did you take care of it? You nod. Wouldn't be standing here if I hadn't. Gebbard the Wise tips a hand to the corner of his desk. Your payment. 300 crowns. As agreed upon. Nice. I like you, Gebbard. No nonsense, straight to the point. No spontaneous urge to run you through. If only all employers were like that. Ah, man. Yeah, I still want that stuff, but not until we've got a blacksmith on tap. Though that's a secondary concern. Drill Sergeant comes first. Let's knock out those level ups. Starting with Rassel Russell. A brawler knows the basic ins and outs of combat, but only now can he truly say that he is battle-hardened. I'd say that toughened him up pretty nicely. Now let's see how Verlin does. Oh, you're like halfway there, man. I mean, we'll take the max roll in melee, but oh gosh, you are not on track to hit unacceptable melee defense. In fact, you know what? We'll make this a rare defense skip. We'll still take the max in melee, but then we'll also shore up his health and resolve. And then we'll take Gifted to further bolster his defense. Which is still lower than we'd like, but, I mean, at least he's in the double digits, if just barely. Honestly, at this point, probably safe to say he'll either end up a shieldman or a pikeman. Or a corpse, you know. That is also a strong possibility. Oh, wait, we should bump his fatigue. Though he does have 2 stars in it, so I mean... Yeah. Better to get his health where we need it. How about you, Drakiith? What have you got for me? Oh, my goodness. Guys, come on. Who would have thought that a flagellant would neglect to take proper care of himself? Alright, so... in retrospect, I probably should have seen that coming, but that's fine. We will take the 1 defense this time out, since nothing else maxed. And then we'll further bolster it with Gifted. Puts us up at 12, 2 points over Verlin. Though that health is definitely hurting. Yeah, much like with Verlin, I'm not sure Drakiith is much longer for this world. How about you, Annie? I've got to say, I'm actually surprised you're still with us. I really thought you'd bite it pretty early on. But I've got to say, I am glad you have not, because my goodness. Of all our characters, you are the one who is consistently rolling the best. And then Gifted just stacks right on top of that. The only real downside being that because she's a day-tailer, a common laborer, she didn't really start with the best numbers to begin with. So even though we are getting these better rolls, it is in a lot of ways just barely putting her on par with some of our other struggling characters. Like her defense, I think she's rolled max every level up thus far, but she's still right between Drakiith and Verlin. But, you know, God's bless her. She's still doing her job. Ooh, prices are actually looking pretty good right now. Sadly, no trade goods, but we will pick up a few necessities. We are cutting it pretty close, though. We need 1,000 for a new hire. But better to get this stuff here and now, rather than run the risk it'll be more expensive later, when we really need it. We'll hold the baubles for now. I'd like to pull at least 200 for that. And yeah, change of plans. My original plan was to head for that lumber village, potentially pick up a woodsman or hunter. But then I remembered we've actually got a perfectly good beast slayer up for grabs in Helvik. So I figure we'll pop up that way, then circle wide around the mountains, and hit that one last town. That's the plan anyway, but we'll see how it actually plays out. The RNG can be cruel. Okay. Despite the ruins we passed on the way in, Helvik's looking to be in pretty good shape. Local prices are decent, though sadly we are not in any condition to grab trade goods right now. Oh, goodness. So they do still have the Beast Slayer, but he is more expensive than I realized. I thought he was closer to like 1,200. Let's see if we can make up the difference. Casimir the Burgomeister is reading one of many scrolls. He angrily tosses it onto a pile of others. The people of Helvik are rightly furious. Do you know a brigand, possibly in league with other vagabonds, managed to steal my golden talisman from us? That artifact is of immeasurable value to me. And to the people, of course. You shrug. And you want me to get it back for you? The man points a finger. Precisely, smart sellsword. That is exactly what I want you to do. Follow the footprints of thievery and return to me the item which the town, rightfully owns. Yeah, we can do that. Let's talk terms. He jingles with a bag of coins. This will all be yours if you help me out on this. 110 crowns in advance and another 450 when the job is done. Yeah, that'll do it. Not quite enough for that new Beast Slayer, but it will get us very close. You come across a caldera, the bottom of which you find a few sheep, nuzzling something. As you draw close, you see that there is an enormous hound there. Its fur matted with blood, its collar shredded, and its paws wiry where the claws have come apart. It regards you with a growl, but can't maintain it for long as it simply puts its head down with an exhausted huff. The sheep depart, and beyond them you find a man leaning against a rock. His chest has been ripped open, and whatever killed him did it with such force as to spray his innards all along the rocks. Following the trail, you do find a monstrous Noxerer, whose throat has been ripped out. Annie nods. I think that pup might be worth having in the company. I mean, wouldn't be the first stray we've taken in. He'll fit right in with the rest of you. You reach out to the Hound, and it lifts its head, as though you were another threat. Its eyes peer blackly from a long, matted mane that still drips with blood. The sheep, having seen what carnage this beast has already wrought, bay nervously as they watch you, but you won't be deterred. You put your hand forth, palm supinated, and the weary dog slowly lowers into it. You nod. There's more fight in you yet, friend. Welcome aboard, warrior. I look forward to being incredibly anxious every time I actually deploy you in battle. Speaking of which, who actually gets this guy? I suppose Drakiith might be the best bet. He's the one with the lowest melee score right now, I think. Makes sense to give him a built-in double team for when he really needs it. And on we go. We've still got some thieves to hunt. There they be. Poachers and raiders. Brigands, just as your employer had thought. They look scared, presumably understanding that Casimir the Burgomeister's well-paid wrath is about to descend upon them. Their prey in sight, the raiders stop short in the snow, shields at ready. A quick shot from bowmen, and an arrow lazily arcs, deflected by layered leather. Ooh, tier 3 flail. I'd love to get my hands on that. 3 spaces out implies they do not have Pathfinder, which means we're better off holding. Spying the slingers in back, the raiders raise their shields, bracing for impact. The two sides stare each other down, each waiting for the other to make the first move. And Bowman obliges. A well-placed arrow carving a bloody gash across a brigand bludgeoner's brow. Stones sail, but none find their mark. And Drakiith finally eases forward, spear at the ready as he seeks to break the stalemate. And that's all it takes. The brigands rush forward, the raiders moving to meet them. Shields raised, spears readied. The bloodied battle begins in earnest. Left bereft of cover, a bandit slingman gasps, stones clattering from his numbed grip, as a well-placed arrow pierces his palm. Rook lunges, putting his weight behind the strike as he runs a bandit axeman through. Drakiith squares off with a deviant dervish. But his attacks fail to find purchase, while Annie is lashed by a bandit's blade. Revenant tears at another bandit bludgeoner. Annie deflects further blows. The back line picks their shots. On the north, Yuri runs another bandit through, his body tumbling into the bloodied snow. Random fiercely kicks a bandit out of his way, advancing menacingly on the man with the shiny metal flail. The ruffian's resolve crumbles before that avaricious glare. Annie holds steady, shield raised. But a brigand's blade still strikes true. The wound is shallow, but the exsanguination extreme. With no clear line of sight, Bowman arcs an arrow. And the enemy slinger looks upward, trying to track the projectile's flight, only to catch it in the eye. And the fray continues. Attacks traded, shallow wounds doled. A strike from Rassel. The second slingman falls. Here he forces back a bandit swordsman, buying Annie some room to breathe. Their foes outnumbered, the raiders begin to plot how best to maximize their potential yield. Bleeding profusely, Annie hangs back, waiting for anatomical assistance. Rev nods mutely. Warfork briefly stowed. Rev tends to Annie on the north. While on the south, Rook runs another bandit through. The man still stands, but gasps grotesquely. Less a breath and more gurgling rattle. A deft jab. A skinning knife slips between chain links. Less subtle, Yuri simply runs his foe through. A twist of the tip, a yank of the haft. His opponent stumbles drunkenly. And Random savagely batters the bandit swordsman who so recently struck him. A favor returned in fatal fashion. Their spirits shattered, the last two brigands desperately seek escape. And yet, the raiders, perhaps fearing that these bandits carry the item they were hired to recover, offer no such reprieve. Swiftly encircled, the beleaguered bandits find only the promise of a swift and relatively painless death, should they accept it. Which they don't, so, you know. That just makes it all the more painful, I suppose. Sadly, their chain does hang in tatters, but that's no reason not to at least make an effort to salvage whatever might be left. One last swing. A random stab of the stiletto, and the final foe falls. The Raiders once more stand victorious. And look at that! Their efforts were not in vain. A singular surviving set of chain. And a couple of usable helmets as well. Sadly, no Tier 3 flail, but we will gladly take those swords. And the battle over, you retrieve the golden talisman from the wasted clutches of your enemies, and prepare to return to Casimir the Burgermeister. He will surely be happy to see of your success. Man, that actually wasn't that bad at all. I mean, it really would have been nice to pull that flail, but considering the lack of more restrained armor harvesting, we actually did okay. Let's go ahead and knock out this level up real quick. Trip gets ever so slightly dodgier. Ooh. Okay, well, you know what? Sucks to roll a 1 in melee, but we'll take the +3 defense. I would arguably prefer to have maxed rolls in defense than in melee, if we have to choose one or the other. Though in a perfect world, we'd have both. We'll go ahead and grab initiative as our third. At this point, I'm thinking Trip might lean fearsome, overwhelming dagger specialist. That way, even if the melee attack ends up lagging behind, he can still theoretically contribute. And back we go. Let's collect our pay, and hopefully our Beast Slayer. Casimir the Burgermeister is resting his legs on 2 dogs, each one passed out atop the other. These beasts could rip my throat out, yet look at them. How does that happen? I didn't even train them. Someone else did. I'm a stranger to them, yet there they are. He placed the artifact on the man's table and slid it across. He leans forward, takes it, then places it under his desk. When his hand returns, he's got a satchel in it. He tosses it over. As promised. Good work, Sellsword. Thank you kindly. And how are we doing on prices? Man, it is tempting to grab those trade goods. Right, but if we do, we won't be able to afford the Beast Slayer, which I think we do actually have enough here to potentially afford it. The question being, will we have enough margin left over to make payroll? One sec, let me do some quick bookkeeping here. We'll be right back, either with the Beast Slayer or with a stack of trade goods. And we're back, with a Beast Slayer in tow. It did take some pretty creative bookkeeping, but a big raider welcome to Valin, who's not only a Beast Slayer, but also bright to boot. And 3 stars deep on range potential, which certainly isn't something to sneeze at, though, you know, their starting score could be a mite bit better. And sadly, I will say, although I would like to turn them into our tentative thrower, I am a bit leery about the no stars in fatigue. Throwing does get pretty fatigue intensive, but I feel like we can probably work our way around that. And, you know, worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, and we just end up trying again with someone else. Ooh, yeah, and that low starting health also a definite point of contention. Though with 2 stars, that shouldn't be too hard to bump up to a more acceptable level. And you know what, given how perk-intensive a proper thrower tends to be, I'm thinking we double down here. We've already got Bright, that's a plus 10% on XP growth. if we stack Student on top of that, that's a full 30, which will leave Valen more vulnerable for the first few levels, but in theory, if he can get over that initial hump, he'll be much better off for it long term. And yeah, we'll go ahead and toss him a shield for now as well. At least until we pick up dodge. I mean, really, you can't double grip throwing weapons regardless, so long term, we'll only really need to drop it once we pick up Duelist. That said, while it is great to have Valen on board, we have exactly enough gold for a single day's payroll. So we need to get our butts over to Tangball, hopefully pick up another contract to make ends meet. But we will still take the long way around, just on the off chance that we happen to spy any random barbarian camps en route. No such luck, it would seem. Alright, well, let's hope we've got something waiting in Tangval, otherwise we might be in trouble here. Oh, thank goodness. Well, I say that now, we'll need to actually see what the contract on offer might actually be. No trade goods. Decent prices, though. Not that we can actually afford anything right now. How's our local recruit pool looking? Oh, okay, just run-of-the-mill manual laborers, nothing all that special. Would be nice to pick up a miner, if just for the special events, but we definitely can't afford that either. Gunther the Steward's turning an apple in hand. He seems frustrated with it, almost as if he wishes it were something else, like a valuable trinket or perhaps just a tastier fruit. Have you ever lost something you loved? You shrug and answer. There was this girl. The man shakes his head. No, not some woman. More important, because I have. Thieves stole my golden talisman. How they managed to get beyond my guards is, well, beyond me. But I know if I set you on them, I'll be having what is rightfully mine back where it belongs. Isn't that right? Or have I been misled as to the quality of your services? No, I think we can, in fact, handle that. Really just depends on whether you can make it worth our time. Fine, how about this? You'll get 540 crowns when the contract is done. Hey, sounds good to me. That's like 3 days' payroll. Not to mention these contracts tend to be run-of-the-mill brigands. So, reasonable fight with some potentially useful gear. Barring the occasional twist. That does look like a suspiciously small group. Ah, the thieves are quite human. A simple crew of vagabonds and brigands. They arm themselves as you order your men to attack. Hey, okay. Ooh. Terrain is slightly awkward, but I think this actually works to our advantage. Though the snow does slow us down. Stalking their prey on a snow-slicked slope, Bowman heralds the raiders' arrival, with a well-placed arrow striking a shallow but painful groove across the bandit bludgeoner's bicep. A sharp whistle and pointed gesture is all it takes. The rest of the raiders start pushing for the high ground. Though the sodden snow and the treacherous terrain does slow their step. So they make do, as best they can manage. Yeah, I think long term we are going to go for Pathfinder as a party-wide perk. A ragged line is set. Weapons readied, shields raised. Val takes aim. His javelin planting in an enemy shield. A few raiders tentatively edge forward, hoping to bait certain bandits into the fray. Risky, but hopefully worth it. A bandit steps up, blade flashing, Annie's tunic rent. Drakiith hangs back, not eager to set himself up for an easy strike. Yet. Hammer or axe, whichever one goes first, blocks the other. Then we can move Drak up. Eerie circles wide, hoping to bait one out. Easy target for the range attackers. Speaking of which, another well-placed shot from Bowman. The bandit bludgeoner's rugged surcoat grows ever more ragged. The bludgeoner steps up. A heavy swing, deflected by random shield. A strike from Rev, tearing through chain, piercing a thigh. Verlin joins the fray. The war of attrition begins. A glancing hit from Val. Still needs to work on that aim, but a promising start. Wary of poor positioning, Trip begins to circle. Whilst Drakiith recklessly charges. But finds no purchase. Rassel steps up. Running the bloodied bludgeoner through. The man still stands, if just barely. Oh. I did not realize they had rotate. Otherwise, I would have just finished off the bludgeoner. No harm done, though. He still whipped the shot. Though Eerie is not so lucky. Another swift stab, and a bloodied bladesman falls. His fellows waver, only now realizing they may have bitten off more than they can chew. Trip steps up. The bandit axeman breaks, panicking as he finds himself flanked in all four directions. Rook turns his attention elsewhere, leaving the rest of the raiders to harvest potential wares. A savage swing from Random. Another foe felled. Behind him, the bandit bludgeoner turns to run. A swift strike from Trip, and a severed head tumbles down the slope. A pained cry as Pike pierces flesh. A spearman staggers, clutching at his side. Before he can right himself, Rev strikes true. A weltering gurgle, and the spearman folds. The last bandit standing casts his gaze about, almost forlorn as he realizes his fellows have fallen. A swing of Annie's flail, and none remain. Oh man, we got the boar spear, nice. Also, some patch chain. Not the best armor, but we'll definitely take it. The nasal helmets, too. I think that's actually one of the more ideal gets for dodge-based builds. Alright, let's head back. Would have been nice to get a bit more variety in quest today, but I'm certainly not complaining. We got some pretty solid gear upgrades, not to mention, of course, our new Beast Slayer. And multiple level ups to boot. Rassel becomes slightly dodgier. Though man, he absolutely tanked on those level up rolls. My goodness. Wow, that is rough. I guess we'll go all secondaries? I don't feel great about that, but I mean, yeah. Yeah, might as well. I mean, we'll shore them up now and hope for better rolls later. How about you, Bowman? Our first to hit level 5, I think. Nice. And given that he is our singular, dedicated sniper, we'll go right for bow mastery. +1 range, reduced fatigue cost. Ideal for picking off distant foes. Though, ultimately, long-term, I think the rest of our range guys are apt to be either gunners or throwers. Speaking of which, we might actually be just about done up north, at least for the time being. I was hoping we'd have a better trade loop, but there's really not a lot of trade goods in the local towns. So it might be time to set our sights further south. Hit the nomad camps before day 40. But, you know, we'll worry about that next time. For now, we'll just go grab our pay. Oh, boo. And our first repeated narrative event. Well, it was bound to happen eventually. Just ended up hitting a bit sooner than I expected. Alright, well, we'll collect our pay and be on our way. In fact, this probably just brings us to a good place to call it. Not the most exciting fights today, but, you know, again, some decent upgrades, a new member. Sadly, I did go ahead and retire Book Thief. You know, there was just no salvaging him after that unfortunate crippled arm. But he will live on in spirit. That's our destined drill sergeant once we can actually afford it. Which I think will be our next main goal. The sooner we can bank that XP bonus, the better. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. We'll take care of the usual bookkeeping off screen, and we will pick up here next time. And then we'll officially set our sights on sunnier climes. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.